in this moment, all we be. La 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 la.
From the bustling streets of Lagos to the hallowed halls of law school, her journey was one of ambition and triumph.
She was a vision of success, a beacon of hope.
Her name echoed in courtrooms, her arguments sharp as a knife. She had it all, a career that most dream of, a family that was the envy of many.
Her husband, a man who could make hearts flutter with a single glance, was her pillar of strength.
They were a love story written in the stars. And then she made a decision that would shatter her perfect life into a million pieces. Her stepsister, a distant figure from her past, had always been in the shadows. Estranged by distance and circumstance, they had drifted apart. But blood, as they say, is thicker than water.
She yearned for a connection, for family, and so she extended the hand of friendship, inviting her stepsister to share in her happiness.
At first, it seemed like a dream come true. Her stepsister, with her infectious laughter and warm personality, quickly became a part of their lives.
Her husband, ever the charmer, welcomed her stepsister with open arms.
Little did she know that beneath the surface of her happy home, a venomous snake was lurking, ready to strike. Her husband announced a business trip to Paris. It was not unusual for him to travel for work. He was a man in demand, his expertise sought after across continents.
She, ever the supportive wife, helped him pack, a bittersweet farewell kiss exchanged before he disappeared through the departure gate.
A few days later, her stepsister, brimming with excitement, declared her intention to travel to Belgium for a holiday.
She had always wanted to see the tulips in bloom, she said, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. And as the wheels of the plane carrying her husband and her stepsister touched down on foreign soil, her perfect life began to unravel.
The days after her husband's departure were strangely quiet. The house, usually filled with the boisterous energy of her family, felt empty, echoing with a silence that was both unsettling and unnerving.
He'll be back soon, her stepsister reassured her, her voice soft and soothing. Why don't we do something to take your mind off things?
And so they did. They went shopping, watched movies, and spent hours lost in conversation, reconnecting and forging a bond that felt genuine, unbreakable.
Her stepsister was a natural caregiver. She had a way of anticipating her needs, of knowing just what to say to make her feel better.
And she would smile, a bittersweet ache in her heart, for she knew deep down that something wasn't quite right. Late one night, while her stepsister was sleeping, her phone buzzed with a message. It was from an unknown number. Curiosity piqued. She opened it. The message was short, cryptic, and sent a shiver down her spine.
Be careful, they are not who they seem.
Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through her. She tried to dismiss it as a prank, a cruel joke, but the words lingered in her mind, casting a shadow of doubt over everything she thought she knew. The seeds of doubt, once sown, began to take root, growing stronger with each passing day. Days turned into nights, each hour an agonizing wait for her husband's return. Sleep eluded her, her mind racing with unanswered questions and growing suspicions.
I can't even talk about it. What if I'm just imagining things?
Her stepsister, sensing her unease, was a constant presence by her side. She offered words of comfort, of reassurance, but her words rang hollow, devoid of genuine concern.
Don't worry, everything will be okay. You're just stressed.
One evening, while looking for her passport, she stumbled upon a small leather-bound notebook tucked away in her stepsister's luggage. The words jumped out at her, each one a blow to her heart. Her stepsister had been writing about her husband, her words dripping with longing, with desire, with a love that was forbidden, destructive. She read about secret rendezvous, stolen kisses, promises whispered in the dark. The diary revealed a plan, a twisted scheme to destroy her life, to steal her husband, to rip apart her family. Her stepsister was not going to Belgium for a holiday. She was going to Paris, to meet her husband.
whispering, "We'll meet in Paris just like we planned. This time it will be forever."
And then it hit her. The timing of it all. Her husband's sudden business trip, her stepsister's conveniently timed holiday. The diary slipped from her grasp, its pages fluttering to the floor like fallen leaves. Denial, like a suffocating blanket, enveloped her, urging her to dismiss the words as fiction, a figment of a disturbed imagination. But deep down, she knew the truth. The evidence was right there, staring her in the face, mocking her naivety.
Her husband, her love, the father of her children, was betraying her. The thought was like a physical pain, a knife twisting in her gut. How could he? How could they?
The questions swelled in her mind, a dizzying torrent of disbelief and rage. She would not let this break her. The initial wave of shock and despair gave way to a steely determination. She needed proof, irrefutable evidence of their betrayal. Her husband and stepsister had meticulously covered their tracks, but she was no fool. She would find their weakness, expose their lies.
Night after night, I turned into a digital detective, scouring through phone records, credit card statements, emails, and social media accounts.
The pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. The evidence, once hidden in plain sight, now screamed their guilt. The weight of her knowledge was a heavy burden to bear. Each day that passed, every interaction with her husband and stepsister felt like a performance, a charade she was forced to play.
The once warm embrace of our home had turned into a battleground, every corner a reminder of their betrayal. I found myself withdrawing from my children, my heart too heavy to bear their innocent joy.
The confrontation was inevitable. She knew she couldn't keep this secret buried forever, but she would choose her moment carefully, strike when they least expected it. The day arrived sooner than she expected. Her husband was due back from his business trip, and her stepsister, her bags packed, was ready to depart on her holiday.
She watched as they walked through the arrival gate, their arms linked, their faces etched with a happiness that turned her stomach. They hadn't noticed her yet, too lost in their web of lies to see the storm clouds gathering around them.
This was it, the moment of truth. The diary felt heavy in her hand, a physical manifestation of the betrayal that gnawed at her soul. Her heart pounded against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat urging her to act.
Taking a deep breath, she walked towards the living room, each step echoing the impending storm in her heart. Her husband and stepsister were seated on the sofa, their laughter grating on her nerves like nails on a chalkboard.
The diary landed with a thud on the coffee table, breaking the spell of their feigned happiness. Silence descended upon the room, thick and suffocating, as her husband and stepsister turned to face her, their eyes wide with a mixture of guilt and surprise.
"What's this?" her husband stammered, his voice a pathetic attempt to feign ignorance, but she could see the truth reflected in his eyes, the fear that flickered beneath the surface of his composure.
"Don't play games with me," she said, her voice cold and sharp, each word laced with venom. "I know everything."
The color drained from her husband's face, his carefully constructed mask of indifference crumbling before her eyes. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out.
Her stepsister, however, recovered quickly, her initial shock morphing into a defiant glare. "You're being ridiculous," she scoffed, her voice dripping with false innocence.
"A misunderstanding?" the protagonist laughed, the sound devoid of any mirth. "This," she spat, "tells a very different story." "Explain? What is there to explain? I trusted you both, welcomed you into my home, into my family, and this is how you repay me?"
The words, laced with pain and betrayal, hung heavy in the air. Her husband hung his head, his face a mask of shame. He knew he had been caught, his web of lies unraveling before his very eyes.
"Get out, both of you. Get out of my house and never come back."
Her words, delivered with the force of a judge's gavel, echoed through the room. She stood there for what felt like an eternity, the weight of her husband's betrayal crushing her like a physical force. The house, once filled with laughter and love, now felt cold and empty, a constant reminder of what she had lost.
But amidst the wreckage of my shattered dreams, a flicker of determination ignited within me. I will not let this break me. I will not let their betrayal define me.
She would rebuild her life piece by piece, for herself and for her children. She would rise from the ashes of their betrayal, stronger and more resilient than ever before. This was not the end. It was a new beginning. The legal battle was brutal, a war of attrition fought on the battleground of her shattered heart. Every document filed, every deposition taken, felt like reopening a wound that refused to heal. Her husband, stripped of his charm and charisma, fought her every step of the way.
Please give me a second chance. Forgive me.
He pleaded for a second chance, for forgiveness, but his words rang hollow.
It's over, I'm done.
The day the judge finalized their divorce, a strange sense of relief washed over her. She was free. The once grand house, a symbol of their shared success, now felt too big, too empty. Every corner echoed with memories of happier times, now overshadowed by the silence of abandonment. The financial burden, once shared, fell squarely on her shoulders. Each bill, a reminder of the life they had built together, now a source of stress and anxiety. Single motherhood, a challenge she had never anticipated, became her new reality. Juggling the roles of both parents, she found herself stretched thin yet determined to provide for her children.
Kids, let's do your homework. We need to stay on top of things.
Her children, innocent victims of their father's betrayal, struggled to understand. Their young minds couldn't grasp the complexities of adult relationships. Their questions, filled with confusion and hurt, were the hardest to answer. She wished she could shield them from the pain, but the truth was unavoidable. How do you explain to a child that love sometimes isn't enough? That even the strongest bonds can break under the weight of betrayal? That the people we trust the most can sometimes hurt us the most? It was a lesson she never wanted them to learn, yet here they were, living it.
It's going to be okay. We have each other. We will get through this together.
There were days when the weight of it all felt unbearable. The loneliness, the financial strain, the emotional toll, it all seemed too much. Days when she wanted to retreat from the world, to hide from the pain and the judgment. The isolation was suffocating, yet she knew she couldn't give in. But then she would look at her children, their innocent eyes reflecting her own pain, and she would find the strength to carry on. Their love was her anchor, her reason to keep fighting. She had been broken, betrayed, left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life. Each piece a fragment of her past, yet also a building block for her future. But she was not defeated. She was a survivor. With each passing day she grew stronger, more resilient, and she would rise again, stronger and more beautiful than before, like a phoenix from the ashes. Her journey was far from over, but she was ready to face whatever came next. Years have passed, and the memories have faded into the background. The sharp edges of betrayal have dulled, softened by the passage of time, replaced by the soft patina of time, like an old, cherished item that has weathered many storms. She has rebuilt her life from the ground up, her career, her family. Her laughter is genuine, her smile bright and full of life, but the scars of betrayal remain, etched into her very being, a constant reminder of the fragility of trust and the lessons learned.
I love you all so much, more than words can express.
She has learned that love, like a delicate flower, needs constant nurturing and care, that trust once broken is not easily repaired, but it can be mended with time and effort. The experience has changed her profoundly, molded her into a woman of strength and resilience, someone who can face any challenge, a woman who knows the depths of pain but also the heights of triumph and joy. She no longer seeks love with the same naive abandon, but with a wiser heart. But she hasn't closed her heart off completely. She remains open to the possibilities. She knows now that true love does exist, that it is rare, precious and worth fighting for, even if it means risking her heart again.
I am stronger now, and I will never forget what I've learned. I carry these lessons with me every day.
The betrayal, though devastating, has become a part of her story, a chapter she doesn't shy away from but embraces. It has taught her the importance of self-love, of setting boundaries, and of knowing when to walk away, of recognizing her own worth and never settling for less than she deserves. This is a story about betrayal, yes, but it's also a story about resilience, about finding strength in the most unexpected places. It's about the indomitable spirit that resides within us all, a spirit that refuses to be broken. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, even when faced with unimaginable pain, we have the power to rise above, to overcome the obstacles that seem insurmountable. To those who have been betrayed, who have felt the sting of deceit, know that you are not alone. There is a community of people who understand your pain and stand with you. Your story, though painful, does not define you. It is but a chapter in the book of your life, a chapter that will lead to greater strength and wisdom. You are stronger than you think, more resilient than you know. You are worthy of love and happiness, deserving of all the good things life has to offer. Let this story be a beacon of hope, a reminder that even from the ashes of betrayal we can rise again, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and give this video a thumbs up. Your support means the world to us. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Your stories and experiences are valuable and can inspire others. Until next time, stay strong, stay true to yourself, and remember, you are not alone. Together we can rise above any challenge.